Hey, good morning, family. So, Reginald Martin here of Kemet Physics, Sacred Alchemy, or Ancient Wisdom Becomes Modern Awakening. So, I had a subscriber ask me about how do we know if our inner growth is impacting our afterlife, and how do we know that that if we're going to be in the, or whenever we're in the afterlife, that it affects the different dimensions that we're going to be in. And I thought that was a deep question because, again, it really comes back to always, our vibrational essence. Just to ground it in the ancient Kemetic science, this has to do with the idea of the Osiris. And the Osiris is the personified concept of our soul, okay, or our soul that's buried in the flesh, that's buried in matter, okay. And in the ancient Kemetic symbolism, you knew Osiris was that when a person that they were representing somebody that was in cycles or cyclic time, like reincarnations and stuff like that, Osiris would have these horns, okay, these horns on his head. And the horns represented and it looks like the ram horns, where they're kind of like a circle. But those horns represented cyclic time, the spiraling of time. And what happens is when your life that you're living definitely impacts your afterlife, okay, but not in the sense of how ancient or how religion has taught us, that we're going to get rewarded or punished. That's not how it works. So you are energetically setting the tone for your afterlife while you're living, okay? And the things that you might be struggling with, the things that you might be good with, but generally it's the things that you're struggling with. You're setting up your next lessons or your next life lessons, and not as a punishment. It's just the order of the universe, okay? And again, this comes back to the idea of ma'at, where there's balance, okay? And if you're struggling with something in this life, then you're going to balance it out in the next life if you don't do it in this life. And balance just simply means that you are going to be at peace with what is happening in your life. It's that internal balance, okay? It's not anybody that, some governing body that says, oh, you're balanced. It is about your internal compass and your internal clock, so to speak. When you have, let's just say you might have a relationship with a family member, it might be a mother, a father, or it could be a sibling, okay? If that relationship is contentious and it produces a lot of strong negative emotions, okay, then the negative emotions are a signal that is something that you need to work through so you can get balanced, okay? And the stronger the emotion, the greater the ties, or greater the possibility is that you're going to meet those same lessons again in the next life if you don't reconcile those emotions, if you don't reconcile with that person, or you don't reconcile it within yourself, and bring it into balance, bring it into a state of equilibrium, okay? The anger is misalignment, okay? It's unequaled energy, okay? and that's what you have to balance. So, you know, when your inner environment is out of balance, that's how it impacts the life or the lessons that you are going to live through, or coming back around again in the next life. Okay, as far as dimensions go, dimensions are simply perspectives. Okay, we literally, and a lot of people think dimensions are like different worlds or whatever, but again, it always comes back to our internal environment. Okay, damn, I'm going up this hill, so y'all bear with me on this. But the man, I forgot what I was saying. So at any rate, the dimensions. Okay, that's where I was. Dimensions. All right. Thank y'all for reminding me. The dimensions are about perspective. So when you shift perspectives, you shift dimensions. And I could go a lot, you know, down a rabbit hole here with some deeper knowledge, but that would just be going down too deep. So, but just understand dimensions are about perspectives, and those are going to be impacted by your attitudes and environments that you carry with you now in this life. And this is why it's so important to understand how with Christianity, it teaches us a negative perspective, to have negative perspectives about people, about the world, and just different things. And it ends up framing our beliefs in a way that causes us to have a lot of negative programming. A lot of times we deal with a lot of fears. And when you do that, you're literally tying yourself to the dimensions that are going to confirm whatever those fears are. The other part of that is when you do like travel, because family, you travel to the world that we call the world of the afterlife. You travel to that same world when you're sleeping. Okay? It's no different. When you're asleep, you're actually more awake. And when I say awake, I mean more conscious than when you're awake. Because your ego mind can turn within and just travel into the inner roads of your being, okay? The inner dimensions of your being. But what happens is you bring your fears, whatever your constant environment is when you're awake and you're living, that environment is going to go with you into those other dimensions. And if you take your fears into those dimensions, you are going to meet them, okay? The consciousness is always going to bring you whatever it needs to help you confirm whatever your beliefs are, be they negative or positive, okay? So if you're a person that believes in demons, you believe in devils, you believe in the monsters and stuff like that, then when you go into that inner environment of those inner dimensions, you're going to meet devils, demons, and monsters, okay? It's just how consciousness works. Consciousness is going to affirm whatever you think, okay? So in that sense, if you want to, you have to develop your dimensional senses in a sense. You have to develop those while you are living, okay? That's where you want to practice these concepts and these ideas, on a daily basis. Not just pick them up just when you think about them or when it's convenient. As a matter of fact, you really know you have it going right when they really become a part of your life. And again, this is different from our church beliefs, where we dealt with so many different conflicts that we couldn't live it. And we couldn't live it because we looked at ourselves and judged ourselves negatively because we couldn't live up to these impossible standards or these contradictory standards. So we just put it to the side, a lot of times. Well, with Kemetic spirituality, it just becomes you integrate it into your life because it integrates you, mind, body, and soul. But you begin to develop new perspectives, which help you to connect with the dimensions that are positive and life affirming for you. Okay, so yes, your inner environment is always going to be connected to your next life. Whatever your inner environment now is going to generate the framework for your next life. Okay, your inner environment now is going to dictate the experiences that you're going to have in your inner environment until you outgrow them. Okay, until you overcome the fears and the negative thinking. Family, the universe is a friendly and abundant place. That's the attitude to really come from. And when you have that frame and that belief system, the universe is going to confirm that for you. Now, if you believe the universe is filled with evil people, evil just lurking around the corner, the universe is going to confirm that for you as well. And I know a lot of people, will come in the comments and they'll kind of want to debate about, something that I said about positivity. But what they believe is true. But what I believe is as well, and it all comes down to what you see as your possibilities. Okay? So your possibilities and your mindset travels with you. It is your level of consciousness, and your level of consciousness is going to attract the energy, and the energy is going to confirm your beliefs and the dimensions that you are going to travel through. That's just how it works. It's all connected. So you can't have positive thoughts and then have a negative mindset that really is riding underneath that momentary positivity that you might have. This is something that you have to cultivate. It's attitudes that you have to cultivate, and you have to grow them, okay? And that means from constant and consistent practice. And again, it's not like religion where it became a chore. These ideas are going to help you live the life that you want, They're going to help balance you, and keep you on track just by practicing them. I like to talk about the time when I was really down, and I was mad at this stuff. I mean, I didn't want to hear nothing positive, about whatever. But I knew better deep down. It was just like, I guess I was feeling like the victim in a way. But what ended up getting me back on track was following the principle of let joy be your guide. Follow your joy. So for me, it was just in one day, I was like, man, I just want to feel good, because I was wallowing in depression and, anger and, just different things. And I was like, I just want to feel good, just for a little while. And so I started to doing something that brought me joy, which was just starting to research stuff. And planting that one little seed of doing something that brings me joy ended up producing more and more seeds, and it ended up like producing a trail for me that ended up bringing me out of the depression and anger, and ended up bringing me to a place where I was focused more on my joy. Okay, and that's how I moved from being depressed to back to becoming someone who's focused on what they desire. Okay, so in that sense, it wasn't something that I had to it wasn't something that was what am I looking for here? Hey family, I wanted to give a little addendum on the idea of following your joy, and let you know that when I say I followed my joy, it wasn't like, in a moment, all of a sudden, I was just trying to be like, happy-go-lucky or anything like that. It's just, it was like a slight increment from being depressed. I just did something that made me feel a little bit better, okay? So it wasn't like a huge shift in the moment. It was just feeling a little bit better in the moment. Started doing something that I enjoyed, and then the joy just increased over time as I was doing it. So I might look up, 2 hours later and realize 2 hours have passed because I was just having fun doing what I was doing, okay? So it's just, it's not like flipping a switch and saying, oh, I'm happy today, oh, I'm going great, and no. It's just a small increment, and I call it a breadcrumb, just really an energetic breadcrumb of just doing something that makes you feel a little bit better, okay? Doing something that takes you out of being lethargic and depressed, and turned in negatively towards yourself. Just doing some little bitty thing that helps you move out of it, okay? So this just wanted to clarify that and make sure that you're not thinking like I was saying, like I just flipped this switch and all of a sudden I was happy. No, it doesn't work like that. It can, there's things that can happen like that can do that, but in this instance, it was just little breadcrumbs of energy that I just followed. So I just did the next thing that made me a little bit happy. I did the next thing after that made me happy. And I look up and 2 hours have passed, okay? So that's what I mean by following your joy. Not flipping a switch, just using the energetic and vibrational breadcrumbs of just feeling a little bit better this minute, the next minute, and the next minute after that. And soon you just string together a number of joyous minutes, okay? All right, family. I didn't have to work to do it, well, I did have to work. I'm trying to think of a way to put this, but it's like it was because of those principles of living them and working through them that helped me to come out of that negative state. If I didn't practice that principle, maybe I would have come out of it, maybe not. But I know for sure that it aided me, okay? It wasn't something that I had to do in spite of anything. It was something I did because I wanted to produce something different, okay? I hope I'm making sense. So that's everything to do with just answering this gentleman's question about how does your inward growth impact your next life, and how does it impact the dimensions that you deal with in your next life. Family, you got to take care of it now, okay? You got to work on you now, and otherwise you're already setting up whatever your next lessons are going to be, okay? Well, that's the case anyway, but you're setting up the next lesson. So do you want it to be based on something positive and good, or do you want to keep reliving whatever the negative stuff is? And that's really the choice of the matter. So both exist and both are valid possibilities. Okay, it's just a matter of which one that you desire. And if you desire the positive stuff, then you have to start living and focusing on those things now, not after you're dead, you know? All right, family. Well, I'm going to continue on my walk. You guys have an amazing rest of your day, and I will talk with y'all later, okay? Reginald Martin, out.